Most people think tractors are just slow, boring farm machines. They're wrong. Hidden in the history of agriculture and heavy industry are absolute beasts. Machines so powerful they could haul entire buildings, so massive they needed their own zip codes, and so experimental that only a handful were ever built. These aren't your grandfather's John Deeres. These are the rarest, most jaw-dropping tractor monsters ever engineered. 10 of them. And most people have never heard of a single one. Number 1. Big Bud 747. Let's start with a machine so enormous it became a legend in its own lifetime. The Big Bud 747 was built in 1977 by Ron Harmon and his team at Northern Manufacturing Company in Havre, Montana. This machine wasn't just big, it was the single largest farm tractor ever constructed. It weighs in at a staggering 95,000 pounds. That's about 43 metric tons and stands over 14 feet tall. The engine alone is a Detroit diesel 16V92T producing 760 horsepower, a power plant originally developed for use in locomotives and large mining equipment. The Big Bud 747 was built specifically for a farming operation in California's Imperial Valley, where massive uninterrupted flat fields meant you needed one machine to do the work of dozens. It can pull an 80-foot wide tillage implement in a single pass. In 2009, the tractor was purchased by the Hathaway brothers of Montana, who restored it and still use it on their farm today. In a single 11-hour day, it can till around 1,000 acres, a feat that would take a fleet of standard tractors several days. It has appeared at farm shows and demonstrations across the United States and remains one of the most photographed pieces of agricultural equipment on the planet. There is only one Big Bud 747 in existence. Number 2. Versatile Big Roy. Most people have heard of Versatile, the Canadian tractor manufacturer. Far fewer have heard of Big Roy. Built in 1977 by Versatile Manufacturing Limited in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, Big Roy, officially designated the Versatile 1080, was an experimental prototype that pushed the boundaries of what a farm tractor could be. It featured 8 equal-sized drive wheels arranged in an articulated 4x4 configuration, powered by a Cummins KTA 1150 engine producing 600 horsepower. What made Big Roy genuinely radical was its frame articulating design. Unlike conventional articulated tractors that bend at a single central joint, Big Roy bent in 2 places, giving it incredible maneuverability for a machine of its size. It weighed approximately 60,000 pounds and was designed to pull implements up to 100 feet wide. However, Big Roy never entered production. Versatile determined that the complexity of the machine and the cost to manufacture it at scale was simply too high to justify. Only one prototype was ever built. Today, Big Roy is preserved at the Western Development Museum in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, where it remains a one-of-a-kind artifact of agricultural engineering ambition. Number 3. Case 1200. Traction King. The Case 1200 Traction King, introduced in 1964 by J.I. Case Company, was a towering 4-wheel drive tractor that was, for its era, unlike anything the agricultural world had seen, with a 451 cubic inch Case engine producing around 120 horsepower. Massive numbers for a farm tractor in the early 1960s, the 1200 Traction King weighed in at over 22,000 pounds and rode on 4 enormous equal-sized tires. What made it unique was its articulated steering system, which allowed all 4 wheels to remain in ground contact at all times regardless of terrain, giving it exceptional traction in difficult field conditions. The 1200 Traction King was instrumental in popularizing the 4-wheel drive articulated tractor configuration that would go on to define the high-horsepower farm tractor market for decades. Fewer than 760 units were produced before Case replaced it with updated models, making surviving examples genuinely rare. Collectors today actively seek out the 1200 Traction King because of its historical significance as a machine that changed the direction of tractor design. Number 4. Doe Triple-D. England in the 1950s had a problem. Fields needed more power than any single tractor of the era could deliver. A farmer named Ernest Doe came up with a solution that was, frankly, insane, and it worked. Ernest Doe & Sons, an agricultural machinery dealer in Essex, England, developed the Doe Triple-D starting in 1957. The concept was elegantly bizarre. Take two Fordson major tractors, remove the front axles from both, and connect them back to back with a pivot joint. The result was a four-wheel drive, twin-engined articulated tractor with combined output of around 100 horsepower. Extraordinary for British farming at the time. The driver sat on the rear unit and steered by hydraulic ram, which turned the articulating joint between the two tractor units. The Doe Triple-D could pull implements that no single tractor in Britain could handle. It entered limited production and was sold primarily to farmers in East Anglia who were dealing with large flat fields similar in character to parts of the American Midwest. Production ran until 1964, when powerful single-unit tractors from American manufacturers finally made the concept obsolete. Fewer than 200 Doe Triple-D units were ever built. Today they are extraordinarily rare, with surviving examples treated as prized museum pieces in agricultural collections across the United Kingdom. Number 5. Wagner TR14. Long before John Deere and Case IH dominated the high-horsepower articulated tractor market, there was Wagner Tractor Inc. of Portland, Oregon, a company that was building articulated four-wheel drive tractors in the early 1950s, years before anyone else. The Wagner TR14, introduced in the late 1950s, was one of the most powerful agricultural tractors of its era. Powered by a Cummins or Caterpillar diesel engine, producing outputs in the range of 225 to 300 horsepower depending on specification, the TR14 was a massive articulated machine built for large-scale dryland farming operations in the American West and Canada. Wagner was arguably the true pioneer of the articulated four-wheel drive tractor concept. The company's founder, Elmer Wagner, began developing articulated tractor designs in 1953 and secured patents for the configuration. Wagner tractors were used extensively in the wheat-producing regions of Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Saskatchewan. Despite their innovation and quality, Wagner tractors were expensive, and the company struggled to compete as larger manufacturers entered the market. Wagner Tractor Inc. ceased production in the early 1970s. Surviving TR14 examples are extraordinarily rare. The Wagner Company's legacy is largely uncelebrated outside of tractor history circles, yet their engineering directly influenced the design of every large articulated tractor sold today. Number 6. Steiger Panther. The Steiger family of North Dakota didn't go to an engineering school. They didn't have a factory. They built their first tractor in a dairy barn during the winter of 1957 to 1958. Because the equipment available to them simply wasn't powerful enough to farm their land efficiently. That first machine, a 238 horsepower articulated four-wheel drive tractor built from scratch using a Detroit diesel engine and fabricated steel, worked so well that neighboring farmers immediately wanted one. Steiger Tractor was born. The Steiger Panther, one of the company's most iconic models produced through the 1970s and early 1980s, represented the pinnacle of the company's independent production era. Available in configurations ranging from 270 to 525 horsepower, the Panther was powered by Cummins, Caterpillar, or Detroit diesel engines and was built with an articulated frame that gave it unmatched tractive ability in large field conditions. Steiger named all their tractors after big cats: panther, cougar, lion, tiger, bear, and their distinctive lime green color became iconic across North American farming regions. In 1986, Steiger was acquired by Case IH, which continues to sell tractors under the Steiger name today. But the independently built Steigers from the Fargo, North Dakota plant are the rare originals, machines built by farmers for farmers, and so well engineered they help define an entire category of heavy agricultural equipment. Number 7. Wright Tractor. In the early 1970s, a small American company called Wright Manufacturing produced one of the strangest looking yet functionally fascinating tractors ever designed. An 8-wheel drive machine built specifically for the wettest, most waterlogged farming conditions imaginable. The Wright tractor featured 8 large, equally sized drive wheels, 4 on each side, arranged along a low-slung frame designed to spread the machine's considerable weight across an enormous footprint. This dramatically reduced ground pressure, allowing the tractor to operate in boggy, saturated soils that would swallow a conventional machine. The Wright was powered by a diesel engine and used hydraulic drive on all 8 wheels, a sophisticated system for its era. It was designed for use in sugarcane fields, rice paddies, and other extremely wet agricultural environments. The machine never achieved commercial success and was produced in very limited numbers. Today, surviving Wright tractors are among the rarest agricultural vehicles in existence, known only to dedicated tractor historians and collectors who specialize in unusual machines from the experimental era of American farm equipment manufacturing. Number 8. Chamberlain Champion. Most of the machines on this list come from North America or Europe. Australia's contribution to the world of rare tractor monsters is the Chamberlain Champion. Chamberlain Industries, based in Welshpool, Western Australia, produced tractors from 1949 to 1986. The company was founded by Dr. Phil Chamberlain and built machines specifically designed for Australian conditions, which meant handling the extreme soil types, heat, and terrain of the Australian outback and agricultural regions. The Chamberlain Champion, produced in the late 1950s and early 1960s, was powered by a unique 2-stroke diesel engine, a Chamberlain-designed unit known for extraordinary torque and reliability in extreme heat. The 2-stroke configuration was highly unusual for a farm tractor and gave the Champion a distinctive sound and performance profile, unlike any other machine of its era. Chamberlain was later acquired by John Deere in 1970. But the independently produced Chamberlain tractors, particularly the Champion, are now deeply cherished artifacts of Australian industrial history. They are celebrated at agricultural shows and museums across Western Australia and represent a remarkable achievement, a homegrown tractor industry that built machines as tough as the continent itself. Number 9. Minneapolis Moline UDLX Comfort Tractor. This one stands completely alone in tractor history. In 1938, Minneapolis Moline introduced a tractor so radical in concept that it has never been replicated before or since, the UDLX Comfort Tractor. The UDLX was a fully enclosed, streamlined tractor featuring a pressurized heated cab with a radio, a padded seat for the operator, and a rear bench seat capable of carrying a passenger. It was designed to serve as both a farm tractor and a road vehicle, a machine the farmer could use in the field all day and then drive to town in relative comfort at its top road speed of 40 miles per hour. Minneapolis Moline built the UDLX with a 4-cylinder engine producing around 40 horsepower and a 5-speed transmission that allowed genuine road-legal speeds. The styling, designed by industrial designers, was dramatically Art Deco, all smooth curves and chrome trim in stark contrast to every other tractor of the period. The UDLX was a commercial failure. Its price of approximately $2,155 at launch, roughly equivalent to $45,000 today, was far too high for Depression-era farmers. Only around 150 units were produced between 1938 and 1941. Today, surviving UDLX comfort tractors are among the most valuable and sought-after antique tractors in the world. Fully restored examples regularly sell for between $100,000 and $200,000 at auction. Extraordinary sums for agricultural machinery of any era. Number 10. NASA's LUT Crawler Transporter. The final entry on this list is technically a tractor. And it is, without question, the most powerful tractor ever built by human beings. NASA's Crawler Transporter, built by the Marion Power Shovel Company of Marion, Ohio, in 1965, was designed to do one job: move the Saturn V rocket from the Vehicle Assembly Building to Launch Complex 39 at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. It has since been used to transport Space Shuttle orbiters and is currently used to transport the Space Launch System. The Crawler Transporter is 131 feet long, 114 feet wide, and weighs approximately 2,721 metric tons. It is powered by two 2,750 horsepower Alco diesel engines, the same engines used in heavy freight locomotives that power 16 electric traction motors driving 4 double-tracked crawlers, each of which is larger than a Greyhound bus. Its maximum speed is 2 miles per hour when loaded and 3.2 miles per hour when empty. It consumes approximately 150 gallons of diesel fuel per mile. The crawler transporter travels on a purpose-built road called the Crawlerway, which is surfaced with river gravel specifically chosen for its load-bearing properties. 2 crawler transporters were built in 1965. Both have been continuously upgraded and are still operational today at Kennedy Space Center, making them the oldest continuously operating pieces of NASA ground support equipment. They carried the rockets that sent human beings to the moon, and they are still working more than 50 years later. No farm tractor, no matter how massive, can claim that legacy. 10 machines, 10 stories of engineers and inventors and farmers who looked at the limitations of what existed and refused to accept them. The Big Bud 747 that tills 1,000 acres in a day. Big Roy, the 8-wheeled prototype that never made it to production. The Doe Triple-D that welded 2 tractors together and turned them into something entirely new. The Wagner that pioneered a configuration the whole industry would eventually adopt. The Chamberlain that tamed the Australian outback. And NASA's crawler transporter, a tractor so large and so powerful it moved the vehicles that took humanity to the moon. These aren't just machines. They are evidence of what happens when human ambition is applied to a problem without limits. When someone decides that what already exists isn't good enough. If you found this video interesting, you know what to do. Share it with someone who still thinks tractors are boring.